Okay, young Zinogre, it's time for your first day of school in the new world.
I'm ready, Mom.
Oh my gosh, what have you done with your hair?
It's stylish, Mother.
Stylish? Stylish? And what about your bugs, child?
What's wrong with red?
It's just a little edgy, son.
Well, maybe I'm a little edgy.
I can't wait for you to move on from this.
It's not a phase, Mom.
Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, so boy, has it been a special week just all around for our community as a whole, and it's just such an exciting time to be a Monster Hunter player, one of the reasons for which is the Hoarfrost Guiding Lands update, and the face of this change, Stygian Zinogre. That's right, everyone's favorite edgy wolf eventually managed to follow everyone's favorite normal wolf to the new world, and Jesus Christ, he does not disappoint.
Man, I am really good at this.
And this was something that I've wanted for absolutely ages. In fact, when I originally expressed my want for Zinogre and Iceborne, part of it was the fact that it opened the door for Stygian to come, because as much as I did like Zinogre, it was the visual idea of seeing a new world Stygian Zinogre that really got me in the mood for hunting. And just look at him, just fucking look at him. Iceborne Zinogre looks great, like capital letters and everything great. Iceborne Stygian Zinogre is straight up motherfucking stunning. The most obvious change being the color scheme has changed to black, gray, white, and red, as opposed to blue, white, and yellow. It really just does work in every way possible, though maybe I am a touch biased. I may be soft and pink as a motherfucker, but I have a sweet spot for edgy visuals too, and teenage me has turned into a liquid puddle of happiness just at the sheer existence of this creature. In these graphics, before the fight even begins, just these straight up visuals of the out of combat monster. Stygian Zinogre also exudes black smoke and glows red just sort of as a standard, which makes sense as instead of harboring Fulgur bugs, the Stygian Zinogre takes advantage of Dracophage bugs, which are based on the dragon element, so black smoke, red glow, just add some more dark and moody elements to them that fit perfectly and thematically, and this is just another prime example of world fidelity, adding visible and important lore details directly on a monster, which you just love to see. As for fight-based visuals, the dragon lightning is just absolutely sublime and unique and lovely. It just, oh my God,
That's okay, take your time.
This is simply the best dragon lightning that we have ever had, and it makes this fight a spectacle in its own right as just a regular monster, because it is just that goddamn good looking. It's hard to say a whole lot more about this, honestly, as he really is just a color shift Zinogre who we already have around in Iceborne, so most of his visual upgrades we've already seen on regular Thunderpup, but just for the sake of saying it, they still look good. The base Zinogre model is still fantastic, and the same can be said for combat too, as for the most part, Stygian just takes regular Zinogre's moveset and spruces it the fuck up with evil looking shit.
When does the magic begin?
And as such, I will be talking about him here in comparison with regular Iceborne Zinogre, as the assumption here is that most of the people watching this will have fought Iceborne Zinogre, more so than Stygian Zinogre back in the day. Starting first with the big overarching mechanic then, his charging. Stygian Zinogre also slowly charges energy, causing him to enter a much stronger state. However, his little chargy howl bits to get there are now accompanied by intermittent dragon lightning strikes in extremely carefully thought out locations along his left and right side. You know, the type of place a player likes to sit safely, which means you have to actually watch where you are standing rather than just sprinting to hit him as much as possible and flinch him out of the charge. And this makes this moment far more dangerous and unsurprisingly cool as shit. But also unsurprisingly, no matter how hard you hit the big bad wolf, he will eventually finish his charge.
I am inevitable.
At which point, as you may expect, he is just slathered in dragon energy, and the majority of his attacks are augmented by these abilities. Either things like this claw attack that both looks delicious and gives you dragon blight, or just generally speaking, most of the base moves gain Dracophage bug projectiles which fire out a short distance, then a lightning bolt hits them and they explode a little bit. So basically Dracophage bugs are mines. Very, very cool looking mines. And like the claw, and just any other dragony attack, unless you have significant dragon resistance, it will give you dragon blight, which if you are using an elemental weapon set will make you feel like... So if that is a route that you choose to take, maybe stock up on some nullberries, and then consider free meal secret, because the dragon element is just all over this fucking fight. Sometimes when Stygian changes position, he will just do a chill little run forward, but he will also leave bugs behind him, ready to explode in a line on either side, which isn't really all that dangerous, but it's just another thing to stay aware of at all times, and another thing that contributes to the absolute beauty of this fight. This little backflip tail slam does a ton of damage, and also leaves a couple lines of bugs beside the tail, and honestly, a lot of this can be just chalked up to the fact that his physical attacks are pretty much Zinogre attacks, but with Dracophage bugs instead of Thunder bugs, which I can't pretend I'm not okay with, especially because of how different this does feel from regular Zinogre as well, as he has different ways of comboing the regular Zinogre attacks too, which definitely doesn't hurt the fight in any way. It does, however, definitely hurt me.
Ironic. He could save others from death, but not himself.
However, that said, there are still actually 2 elemental attacks that I really want to just nerd out about for a moment here. Firstly, this attack that's basically just an absolute wave of Dracophage bugs, exploding and firing dragon lightning in a tiered cone shape. And this thing just, it's like they finished him and then they were like, you know what, these Dracophage bugs look absolutely great. Maybe we should just add something to show as many of them as we can at a time. And then this attack was born and I was happy. And then when they finished that, they thought, hey, wait a moment, what if... So that, right there, was Stygian Zinogre's equivalent of a super move. Even though only the final part of the combo is really its own unique attack, the others are just repurposed other moves. However, that said, the combo is the combo that it is for good fucking reason, as this thing is absolutely lethal. A giant ring of Dracophage bugs, followed by 2 backflip slams in a row, which, by the way, can follow you ridiculously far. And then it is all capped off by a spinning dragon torpedo attack that just... And honestly, the only complaint I have about this series of attacks, this combo, whatever you want to call it, is how hard it is to see it perfectly when you're fighting him. As when he chooses you as a target, you're just inside this big, beautiful ball of energy as you die.
One day you will evolve beyond your physical body.
But from the outside, it looks more like Fulgur Anjanath's super jump, but more acrobatic, and with dragon lightning, so unsurprisingly, I fucking love it. When it comes to the armor then, we have something absolutely stunning. I mean, was there really any doubt how good the armor would look for a creature that looks like this? Like, come on! It is, of course, a redesign of an old game model for Stygian Zinogre armor, and with Iceborne detail, it is just scrumptious.
It's beautiful.
Skill-wise, as a whole, the alpha set has 6 latent power, 3 windproof, 3 dragon attack, 2 earplugs, 2 tremor resistance, 2 focus, 2 part breaker, 2 flinch free, and 1 little lonely rank of Elder Seal boost. The beta has 6 latent power, 3 windproof, 2 focus, 2 part breaker, 1 earplug, 1 tremor resistance, and 1 flinch free, with both sets having the regular Zinogre 3 set bonus of latent power secret, which allows you to bring latent power up to provide 60% affinity and be triggered significantly easier, and it is a very neat little skill. And if we're talking about fun armor sets that you can make fun builds with, this really isn't terrible, and I'm certain you could get a ton of enjoyment out of it. However, if we are talking about the meta damage builds for people who simply want to kill things as quickly as possible, this set just doesn't really cut it. It can't compare to something as integral as Master's Touch, or Frostcraft, or Crit Element, or Crit Status, and as unfortunate as that is, and even on an individual piece level, there's very little I can see making it into the damage meta mixed sets, with the one exception being the beta legs with 2 focus, a 4 slot, and a 1 slot, but even that piece would be for some sort of niche builds like Crit Draw Greatsword, so it doesn't care for Yangaruga legs, or something like that. For the most part, especially with the beta pieces, there is an absolute ton of value if you're looking for latent power. There are 2 separate pieces with 3 latent power on each, so if you want that latent power, it's actually awesome. Latent power just doesn't really fit the damage meta is all. As far as weapons go, design-wise, if your weapon had a regular Zinogre tree before, the Stygian weapon will just be a recolor of the Zinogre weapon, which may sound disappointing, but if you actually look at them, I'm telling you, they still look amazing, whether a unique model or even the ones that are just bits attached. I think these Stygian Zinogre bits actually look really nice. For the weapons that didn't previously have a Zinogre tree, it is pretty much just a toss-up whether you get a full unique old game weapon redesign or a base bone or metal with bits weapon. But I have all of them up on the screen so you can see the one that you want specifically. Statistically speaking then, they are very much sort of hit or miss. On average, they have an incredible amount of purple sharpness and very decent raw, however not quite high enough raw to be the best raw performer. And very decent dragon, however only being the top dragon weapon for some weapon types. These weapons across the board are viable, usable, good weapons. However, the only one that stands out as an extremely clear meta shift is the gun lance, which is the first gun lance in the game with level 7 normal shelling, and by God is that exciting for gun lance players.
I think I'm gonna go stare at a wall for a while and rethink everything.
On the whole then, Iceborne Stygian Zinogre is just fantastic. Visually, he is about as perfect as I could ever have imagined him. His fight is fun as hell, and the tempered version of him is actually legitimately challenging as well. The armor looks great, but functionally is just sort of and the weapons look great and aren't bad at all. Stygian Zinogre, you are a total success in my book, and Capcom, keep these motherfucking monsters coming, because you are on an absolute roll right now. Alright everyone, I've been Cotton Dinosaur, and this has been Stygian Zinogre. Do you like Iceborne Stygian Zinogre? What other newer returning monsters would you like to see added to Iceborne? Like if you like the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. This is the brand new outro to tell you all the things that you do that we love, so let's start with something simple and say, oh, we love your eyes. When they're watching us play video games, when we make a bunch of jokes that are kinda lame, or when they gaze upon our failures as we try to kill the monsters or report important news about the Kingdom Animalia. Rage, Cotton, and Hollow are all here, talking about the things you want to hear, so if you want to be the first to hear, like and subscribe and the bell and we'll cheer. Some of you are patrons even though we are all the noobs and you're the pros. There's nothing we can do to thank you. No, really, there's nothing we could possibly do. Goodbye.